should I perform 8 or 20 units of Tarawih prayer? Should I perform 8 or 20 units of Tarawih prayer?
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.
So in relation to Tarawih, the Sunnah of Tarawih, there's a lot that can be learned about the history of Tarawih and the meaning of it and the development and the like. But as far as what the four madhabs had rested upon in terms of what is the Sunnah of Tarawih, all four schools of thought agree that Tarawih, the Sunnah of the Tarawih Salah is 20 raka'at, and there is some leeway in the schools. In other words, individual scholars held various other views about the number of raka'at, some having less than 20, some having more than 20, some having more because they didn't have to go around the Kaaba for tawaf in between, and others having less because they needed to go around the Kaaba for tawaf. So there are differing views in relation to this. But as for the four schools of thought, including the Shafi'i school, the Sunnah of Tarawih is 20 raka'at. Now that said, Tarawih is a Sunnah Salah, right? It is a Sunnah. It is of course highly recommended in the month of Ramadan. قال الله عز وجل قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم من قام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Whosoever stands during the nights of Ramadan, believing in Allah and hoping for reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive all of their sins. So it's a virtuous act, absolutely. What we do find is that the full 20 raka'at for some people is either extremely difficult or impossible. Now, everyone needs to be a judge of their own lifestyle, their own circumstances, their own obligations and duties and the like. It is a Sunnah Salah. So if somebody omits it entirely, there is no sin on them for doing so. Though, of course, we don't encourage that. We need to strive for the utmost in the month of Ramadan, especially. But if they don't, it is not sinful, right? They should still strive for performing Salatul Fajr, Salatul Isha in the masjid in Jama'ah. But when people do make Tarawih and they can manage a few raka'at, whether that be 2 extra raka'at beyond Isha, whether that be 4 extra raka'at, 8 extra raka'at, 10 extra raka'at, and perhaps they can't manage to do the full 20 because of obligations and the kids need to go to school and they have a busy schedule and the like. If it's either going to be 20 or nothing, then they're not going to show up. Then we should have the understanding that it's okay for people to make less than 20. There's no sin involved in that, while the Sunnah remains 20 and we should strive to implement that. Now some people may say, how can the Sunnah be 20 when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam never reached 20 in his performance of the Tarawih Salah? So the scholars have, of course, discussed this. This is not something that they are oblivious to. And from the explanation, we understand that the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not end with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He also commanded us to hold on to the Sunnah of the rightly guided caliphs after him. Including Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala an, who basically institutionalized the performance of the 20 raka'at of Salatul Tarawih behind an Imam in Jama'ah. And since then, all the Muslims from traditional Sunni Islam have accepted this particular ruling as part and parcel of the Sunnah. So therefore, the Sunnah is 20 raka'at. Wallahu subhanahu wa ta'ala a'lam, with the understanding that if people make less, we should be tolerant of that because they are striving in the capacity that Allah Ta'ala had afforded them to do so, and Allah knows best. Barakallahu fikum.
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.